Great news, everybody. Freddy's back. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Nick Push, and it's very exciting, guys, that we have a new Freddy Krueger movie to talk about. It's a fan film. However, we really got to come up with another name other than, or another term other than fan film. Because what Cecil Laird did here, he's the director from the horror show here on YouTube. What he did here, what Dave McRae and Bruce Dale did with It's Me, Billy, and obviously what Vincent DeSante has been doing with the Never Hike Alone series, what they're doing is really raising the bar for fan films. So much so that I hate to even call it a fan film. But right off the bat, guys, let's talk about Dylan's New Nightmare. I just immediately got done watching this. I put review. This isn't going to really be a review. It's going to be my thoughts on what I just watched. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I enjoyed the fuck out of that. Really, really impressed with what they did. Just under 35 minutes of runtime, and they did a lot with it. Let's just talk about what I liked right away. So Cecil's direction, I thought was really, really good. Whether it was the camera choices, camera angles, and things like that. Even some of the dialogue and just the way he had, whether it was Dylan, whether it was his therapist, whether it was Freddy Krueger, or the people in Dylan's dream. The way it was written and the way it was performed, I thought was really A, believable, and B, just well-rounded acting, which is not what I expect in a quote-unquote fan film. So I thought right off the bat that just kind of jumped out at me. And another thing that I really liked was this movie really, and keep in mind, this is just my initial thoughts. I literally just got done watching, but I liked the way this movie really took its time with its scenes. So there is a scene where Dylan's having a dream, the way it opens up, and this is what we saw mostly in the trailer. But he's having a dream where he is auditioning for a part in, is it Hatchet 5 or something like that, right? And they take their time with it. The casting director recognizes him. I love that we got a Chase Porter reference. That is awesome. I knew we'd get a Heather reference, but the fact that they reference Chase Porter is awesome. But he recognized him, and they had a little conversation, and you could tell Dylan didn't want to talk about his mom right away. And there's other things that he talks about with his therapist that tell us a lot about what Dylan has been through, or what his life has been like since we last saw him back in 1994, almost 30 years ago. So I like that, little subtle things like that, where they told us what he's been going through without spelling it out for us, without laying it out on a platter and just having it be exposition. That is smart storytelling. And usually in like smaller films like this, you'll get a character just says exactly what they're thinking, right? Here, they had it be part of the plot, and Dylan told us by not telling us. So I really enjoyed that. So that whole scene, the opening of this movie, Dylan's nightmare here, or Dylan's new nightmare, however you want to phrase it. But the whole opening nightmare that Dylan has, I thought was really, really well done. The introduction of Freddy Krueger, which we're going to talk about Freddy in a moment here, and Dave McRae's performance. But the introduction of him, I thought was extremely well done, and I loved that casting director Ron Sloan. I know he was in 13 Fanboy. I think he played Junior in Friday 5. But I loved how he slowly became Freddy, which is something you would see from some of the earlier Nightmare movies, where reality kind of bends into the dream, and he starts laughing, and obviously it's Freddy's laugh, it's McRae's laugh as Freddy, but he starts laughing, and McRae or Freddy's voice is syncing up with Ron Sloan's. Really, really well done. And then he flips the table over, and boom, it is our first introduction in this movie to Freddy Krueger. And let's piggyback right off of that. Let's talk about Freddy Krueger in this movie. Let's talk about Dave McRae's performance. I have been on record on this channel numerous times, mostly to no avail, telling people that there are many other actors who can play Freddy Krueger besides Robert Englund. And I love Robert Englund. Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger to me. but I think it's naive to think that nobody else can play that character and play that character well. And Dave McRae, who most people on YouTube know, I've had the pleasure of being on a show with him before. Great guy. So call me biased, whatever you want. But I thought Dave McRae did an excellent job. And what stuck out to me, I should say, about McRae's performance as Freddy. You would think it'd be the voice, right? Because he's a voice actor. He calls himself the voice man, right, for a reason. It wasn't the voice. The voice was great. I knew the voice was going to be great. But it was kind of his posture and his mannerisms. He was leaning to one side that had the glove. He was doing a lot of little subtle movements that kind of reminded you of Robert Englund's Freddy, but also kind of making it his own, which is what you want to see. You don't want to see an actor pretend to be Robert Englund. They'll fail, right? Because like I said, we all love Robert. We all do. So I love that the choices that McRae made with his posture. His voice was superb, as it usually is. Like I said, he's a voice actor. I'm not surprised by that, but I was really impressed by the mannerisms and posture and little subtle acting that he did as the character. So rest assured, everyone, Freddy Krueger is great in this movie. Continuing on the story, Dylan is starting to be haunted by Freddy again and haunted by these dreams, not wanting to believe it. And, his mom, let's talk about Heather Langenkamp. She does not appear in this, but she's mentioned numerous times. And I really, really loved that they mentioned her so much. It's kind of heartbreaking, as a fan of this franchise, to know that Heather is kind of in a mental institution, right? Obviously, it's not Heather, but it's Heather in this universe. So Dylan can't talk to her at all. She's never able to come to the phone. But at the end of this movie ends with a little bit of a cliffhanger here where Heather calls Dylan. Dylan's holding Rex, and Heather calls Dylan. So really, really great ending to this movie. There's a brutal kill in this movie where Freddy kills Dylan's therapist. And I just want to touch on the scene because I have a feeling that some people might think that this therapist scene drags on a little bit. I don't know how long it went, but it's Dylan talking to his therapist. It's right in the middle of all this, right in the middle of the film. Between Dylan's dream and between, the ending, Dylan is talking to his therapist, and his therapist is kind of peppering him with questions about the dream. We saw some of that in the trailer, right? She's peppering him with questions about this dream. And just like I was talking about earlier, where Ron Sloan is asking Dylan about his mother, we find out so much about Dylan in this scene without him spelling it out for us. That is great writing. That is great directing by Cecil Laird. I've never really watched Cecil's YouTube show. Sorry, Cecil. But I'm going to start now because I really think that is smart, and that's what I want to see in a movie like this. I want the person who's directing this movie to treat me, who's watching it, like I'm not a fucking moron, right? And that's what I appreciated about the little subtleness of some of these conversations in this movie. So overall, guys, I really enjoyed the fuck out of this. Like, it's so exciting to watch a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. I know it's a fan film. Like I said earlier, we need to get a new term for that. We need a new term for that because this is stuff like It's Me, Billy, stuff like Never Hike Alone, that whole stuff. They're too good to be classified as a fan film. Okay? So, like I said, overall, big fan of what I saw here. And most importantly, this left me wanting more. I'm kind of upset a little bit because by the time we get more, it's going to be at least a couple years from now. And I want to know what happens here. I want to know, is Heather Langenkamp coming back? Damn it. Is she coming back? That would be awesome if they could get her. But like I said, guys, big fan of this. Big fan of everything you'd expect, from the directing, from Dave McRae's performance as Freddy Krueger. It doesn't work without that. I thought Miko Hughes did a great job as well, making me believe that he was the same character that the kid was from '94. And, I mean, obviously it's the same actor, but you still have to believe. I haven't seen Miko in 30 years. So the fact that I believed it was great. when Rex showed up, I was like, hey, Rex. So they got all the little Easter eggs. And one more thing that I just thought of, because like I said, I apologize, I'm all over the place here because these are my initial thoughts. One more thing, that song that was playing when Dylan was driving home, brav fucking oh, that was badass. It sounded like Doc, and I thought it was like Dream Warriors. I'm like, wait, this isn't Dream Warriors. It's something else, and it's something good. I need to know what that song is. But like I said, guys, I loved this. I'm excited to watch it again. I'm excited to see where they go next. Assuming this will be a success, I don't see why it wouldn't be, because it was fantastic. So tell me your thoughts down below in the comments, guys. I appreciate you guys watching. If you are a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, check this out. See you guys next time.